What's good, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome. That should have transferred over. It didn't work. Hey, busy day today. Welcome to the Closing Beat. If you're watching us for the first time, my name is Dustin Tibbetts. I'm a financial advisor with Jazz Wealth Managers. Check us out at jazzwealth.com. We do this show every single day to help update you on the stock market, let you know about all the cool things that happened. We've got so much to talk about today. I can promise you there is not a chance that I'm going to get to everything. If there's something that you want me to cover, leave it in the comments. There's about a 5-second delay. I promise I will get to it. Keep in mind I cannot give any personal investment recommendations. Not allowed. I have some good things going on right now, and regulators will 100% be watching what we're doing as we're in the middle of some important things with them. Anyways, aside from that, hey, if you're one of our customers, you didn't get the towel yet, to remind you that the markets recover 100% of all declines 100% of the time. You really don't care so much right now. The markets are just screaming higher, but that's one of those things I want you to have. If you're one of our customers, happy to send it to you. I got one on the wall, so you always remember that when times get bad, they will always get better 100% of the time. It's one of the only things that I can guarantee you in the future without getting in trouble and saying things I shouldn't have. Short update here that I'll be out of the office actually tomorrow, sorry. So tomorrow and Friday, no closing beat. Gonna head out a little bit early to North Carolina, see some drum corps shows. So I'll try to post something for you guys. Thank you to all of you who purchased the budgeting class. That helps support these kids. They're amazing, amazing time. If you ever get a chance to go see one, you should go check it out. It is really cheap too. So we'll go with that. If you're one of our clients, last night we did the student loan formula. Not a very popular class. Apparently you guys, not very interesting to you guys. Check our calendar on the website. Of course, all the classes that we're going to be doing will be coming up, but that replay is available for you in your email. If you haven't switched over to Nasdaq 2.0 yet, you got to make the switch, right? Let me know. I'm happy to get you added to it. Let's get started here because I don't. I've got notes out the you-know-what, papers everywhere here. I'm going to head over to the charts to get things started with us here. Let us see, did it work? It's working perfectly, okay. On the screen, you see the Dow. The Dow was higher on the day. Actually started lower on the day. We'll get to that in a second, but it ended up higher by 172. You can see it here breaking above this prior high. If you're a technical trader, you love the fact that we closed above this prior high. Lets you know that as far as resistance or stopping points, we're starting to run out of stopping points. So the Dow is recovering nicely. Very strong day. Now, in the Dow, here we go. We'll go over here. In the Dow, you got Verizon a little bit lower on earnings. That's not such a big deal. Boeing was lower today. Actually, it recovered most of it, so not too bad. Some of the bigger items in the Dow, where'd they go? Some of the bigger items in the Dow, there we go. You got Microsoft hitting new highs. Great spike in Microsoft and a lot of the tech names we'll talk about. Nike recovering all of yesterday's losses. Remember we mentioned yesterday Nike selling off a little bit aggressively. That recovered. Visa had earnings come out. Let's see where Visa's at here after the close. 142. Visa a little bit higher after earnings as well. Those earnings just came out. Coca-Cola had earnings come out today. Great move for Coca-Cola, actually back above the 200-day moving average. Just, man, so much to cover here. So let's go on to the S&P 500. There's the chart of the S&P 500. If you are one of our customers, then you know exactly what these candlesticks are on the charts. We'll go over some of those in a second, but the S&P 500 closed the day higher by 25. It was higher most of the day. It was pretty much leading the way for us. The Nasdaq was the leader for the day. That closed higher by 91. Tech supported the markets in a big way in the Nasdaq. If I go over to the Nasdaq, there you go. You can see it closed at all-time highs once again. You had names like Facebook, the FANG names, right? Facebook broke to a new high. They had earnings, but the stock's actually falling a little bit lower. Actually, let's go over that. So Facebook earnings, they beat on earnings. Everything looked good there. They missed on revenue by a little bit. Daily active users went down a little bit there. Actually, a decent drop in daily active users. They continue to lose the daily active users there. Capital expenditures were more than expected. Think about it. If you watch TV still, you've seen a Facebook commercial because of the scandals. They're trying to make you come back to Facebook saying it's okay, but daily active users were still lower. So their capital expenditures were higher. They're investing in more employees, hundreds of thousands of employees actually, but those commercials can't help either. To give you a little stat, on Bloomberg, we air commercials locally here, and on Bloomberg, if you watch that channel, Facebook was the #1 advertiser dollar spent on Bloomberg last month. So you could tell that they're spending a lot of money on that. Facebook's on the charts there. You can see it, new highs. It is actually down closer to 200 here after hours. Here's where we're at this moment. So tomorrow morning, at least as of now, we're looking like we're going to open around 200. So a significant drop, close to 8% on that drop. My opinion on this, if you care, is this makes sense. This is a discount at this point. Facebook cannot show killer profits, killer earnings, killer everything in the face of these scandals. You get what I'm saying? If they were sort of ignoring all the issues that they've had and saying, look at us, we're making all this money, you'd be pissed off, right? So Facebook actually saying, look, our CapEx is higher, check out their cash flow. Cash flow reduced by 50%. So they're trying to show that they're doing the right thing and trying to recover from this. I think that's smart. I think that was a good position for them to do that. And so that was a big leader today in the Nasdaq, but ultimately it will open lower tomorrow. So we'll move on to names like Amazon. That added almost 2% on the day. Netflix, a little recovery, 1.5%. Remember, nothing's going to happen on Netflix negative unless it breaks under this red line here, as simple as that sounds. You had Apple higher by 1% on the day, and of course Google, that added 1.5%, or Alphabet, however you want to look at that. So strong day all around for the markets. Now, here's the other thing. We'll go to this one. Trump came out today. He was with the EU Commission there, and basically playing hardball. And what happened at the end of the day, or towards the end of the day? They're working out a deal. Right? They're going to work this thing together. So in a way, it's a win for Trump. But you won't see that on TV because they just want to bash the guy. And I take the approach that you may disagree with whoever the president is. It's always going to be that half the people hate the president, right? But when the president scores a win, give him some credit. When he does something ridiculous, let's rag on him, right? Let's give him a hard time. That's what Americans can do. Have you ever seen what happens, questions to the prime minister? If you ever watched that on the BBC, they're very vocal about what they like and they don't like. That's great. We don't always have to beat up on a guy. So in my opinion, Trump got a win today, or at least is the start of a win, and that helped fuel the markets going higher. Of course, strong day. If we go down to some individual sectors today, bear with me. We're just going through everything today. So if you're used to a short one, this is not going to be a short one today. We take a look at the semiconductors. The semiconductors were higher by 0.5%. Very important for the markets to have the semiconductors. Banking stocks were higher on the day as well. They continue to do well. So the banking stocks, we talked last quarter about how they were a mess. They just were getting sold off on any and every opportunity, bullish or bearish news. Well, we had both of them today, the tech and the semiconductors. Semiconductors started rallying about halfway through the day, mainly because of Qualcomm. And actually, Qualcomm's reported earnings already. They are, where are they at? Oh, nicely higher here, 63. So going to break out tomorrow on Qualcomm. Part of it is earnings, and I'll bet you part of it, I haven't seen the news on this yet, but part of it is their deadline to acquire, to get permission to acquire NXPI expires today, and Qualcomm said, look, if we don't get approval, we're just going to drop our whole bid. We're not even going to go for them. China has pretty much said, we're not going to approve this thing. Let's call it the end of the day, right? The deal is over. And so semiconductor stocks saw a nice little rally on that. Both Qualcomm and NXPI did well to wrap up the day. So pretty interesting there. What I'll point out, if you follow the automakers, you've got Ford. Yeah, there we go. So you got Ford lower on the day. They reported earnings not so good. Ford said, hey, steel and aluminum, it's killing us, right? They're costing us more. They had some problems with a factory fire as well, but that won't make the headlines. They said steel and aluminum's killing us. General Motors said the same thing. Hey guys, you're killing us. Steel and aluminum tariffs really hurting. What did we learn the other day? Whirlpool. They said, hey bud, steel and aluminum, you're killing us. Quit it. So what was interesting is when Trump came out with the commissioners today of the EU, they said, we're working on an equal trade partnership, right? So we're going to drop all the nonsense. We're not going to have a trade war. We're going to work this thing out. But we're not going to include the auto tariffs. So they kind of got shafted on that one, in my opinion, because they were very clear. Those auto tariffs, we ain't talking about those for now. Put all that aside. We're going to go with this other stuff. So Ford was like, damn, man, you're killing us with all this. We got General Motors down on the day as well, new lows, although they did trade off of their highs. Not too bad. Also in the news, part of what helped support these or tried to recover these auto companies today is there's a bill that was proposed today, bipartisan by the way, that said in order to have these tariffs that Trump wants on the automotive industry, they want to have the International Trade Committee conduct a stress test of sorts on the automotive industry here in the States before anything can happen. It looks like that bill is going to pass, by the way. It looks promising. So there may be at least a little delay on those there. Okay, we're going to go through the stocks here individually. If there's something you want me to cover, let me know, of course. But in earnings, so as far as the markets go overall, as far as earnings so far, we have over 30%, close to 32% of the S&P 500 now has reported earnings. It feels like all of it has come today. But so they've shown 85% of them are beating expectations. Great. This is very, very good. Okay, so if you're following along with the earnings season, awesome. Everything going really, really well on that. Remember, Wall Street's looking for 20% earnings growth on that one. So let's keep going here. Coca-Cola in the Dow. Great day for Coca-Cola, up 1.8%. The company reported earnings, of course, that were better than expectations. Revenue was better than expectations. Organic growth globally was a driving factor. However, in the United States, the company has said that cost pressures are holding them back, mainly steel and aluminum. What do you think the cans are made out of? What do you think they're producing everything? So they said that they're going to have to raise prices. All that aside, right? All that negative crap aside, they're coming out with a new flavor. I don't know if you're into this, but they're coming out with a new flavor called Feisty Cherry. I'm excited. I'm sort of looking forward to that. So in the news there, they're going to focus on, of course, all the nastiness going on there. But hey, not bad. Getting a new flavor out of Coke. So that is that one. Boeing reported earnings. Not too bad. They were the loser, one of the bigger losers in the Dow today. Earnings, revenue, everything was fine. The problem is that KC-46 tanker program where they're taking these 737s, I believe, retrofitting them to be aircraft refuelers, like in air where the planes fly and touch the thing and get more gas. That's so cool. They're way behind schedule on that, and they're getting punished for it. Probably going to get punished a little bit more, in my opinion. So the stock was down a little bit today. They had to write off another $418 million, which brings their total just over $3 billion in cost overruns to make this thing happen. So if you're interested, that's a lot of dough, man. They need to get their dough straight, right? UPS, one of the big leaders here in the S&P 500 today, earnings better than expected, and UPS even commented that online shopping was the driving force behind their whole thing. So they did really well there. We talked about AT&T before. AT&T reported earnings. We talked about this yesterday. Profit per share better than expected. They raised their guidance for the year. They added more wireless customers than they expected. But the stock, if you notice, broke to new lows, new 52-week lows actually. Revenue was slightly lower than expected, and the company blamed it on that merger with Time Warner. Very normal, right? If you're an AT&T holder, although you don't like what happened today, very, very normal for that earnings season after an acquisition to report some extra costs in there. Wall Street expected them to make $39.4 billion. They came in at $39 billion. That's not bad. I mean, I know it's $400 million, but relative to what normally happens in the space when companies acquire each other, it's not horrible. I'll give them a pass on that one. Okay, iRobot. You know iRobot's a public company. These guys make those vacuums that are automated that all the dogs love to chew up. So they shot up 17% today. They said growth everywhere. We're killing it. Everything's great. We're making money hand over fist. Everywhere we can make money, they're making money. They raised their guidance going forward, which just fancy for saying we expect to continue to make a ton of money. So absolutely killing it. Who's not killing it? Limited Brands. Limited Brands continues to have problems. Remember, this is Victoria's Secret. This is Pink. These are those brands. They have supply issues. They've got over inventory or excess inventory everywhere. Add to that today, Evercore, if you're familiar with them, big company. They announced that they are shorting the position. So if you don't know what shorting is, instead of buying a stock and hoping it goes up, these guys are selling the stock and hoping it goes down. They will profit if it goes down. Stock was lower by 1%. PayPal reporting earnings after the close here. I actually didn't see how they did. PayPal A little bit lower on earnings. 87 is your magic number, giving back all of the last 2 days' gains. Not good there. Las Vegas Sands, continued issues. They actually just reported earnings. Continued issues with Macau, although they're trying to stay positive on it, it looks like here at first glance. Nobody's feeling good about it. Stock's down to 73 after hours here. And I wanted to check in on Mattel. So Mattel reported earnings and is just getting clobbered, I believe. Yeah, down to $15 here on Mattel. They're behind on the game here. Remember we talked the other day, Hasbro, they did okay. They did great on earnings actually, but they are sort of the leaders. If you have to compare the two, unfortunately Barbie is just not keeping up with the mix today. So that's it. That is all that I have for earnings. Let me see. Facebook is currently recovering off lows there. Advanced Micro Devices, there we go. AMD, popular semiconductor, is up about 6% after earnings here. That's a good one. That's going to help those semiconductors, now trading at $17 back at these prior highs. I like the sight of that. Biogen, we talked about that one before. If you follow those sort of, biotech stocks. If you follow those, you notice this one after hours. I told you yesterday, this stock is unbelievably hard to make money on from a trading perspective. It's down to 354, which is all the way back down here, giving back like 5 days worth of gains. Their Alzheimer's drug, it's working, but we already sort of have seen the profit for that. Remember this big move here, you see this guy, this big 20% move from here, that is when they announced it, right? That they would have positive results, that everything would look good. Today, they're officially coming out with those results of the trials. It's kind of like profit taking, right? So when you see the stock is lower today, you got to look at it and say, well, yeah, but the gain was already there, right? So we already have what we need. Now we've got the official announcement. People just taking profits on that. I don't really think that's a big deal. Whew. That's a lot to cover. Twitter, going to be a big focus in earnings here. They're just killing it. The stock's been doing really well. Twitter will be coming out with earnings. We'll see what happens there. Let me go back to oil real quick. That was up 1% on the day. I hope the quality's good. It says the quality's been reduced. Can you check that? So oil up 1% today. Supply, we got some reports. Every Wednesday we get a report. Stockpile reductions, that helped us here. So a lot of people think that there's oversupply here in the U.S. Actually, they don't think it. They see it, right, in the reports. And the reduction in stockpiles today helped that trade, helped oil trade higher. So energy itself, great sector today, did really well. What else do we have? AKS, this is a steel company. The stock is down 4% after hours with those tariff headlines. United States Steel also down, but only about 2%, not so bad. Xilinx, also a semiconductor, reporting earnings. They're doing well after earnings. That's good to see. So you already kind of know that tomorrow those semiconductor stocks are in a good position. We'll see what happens there. Of course, we want to follow along with that. That's about all I have for you for that one. What else do we have? Let's go downtown here and look at some of these other news events. Look, there's a what do you call it? There's a conference going on. It's called Seeking Alpha, where you have all the biggest hedge fund managers, all the biggest fund managers out there, and they basically all agreed that Amazon is going to beat Apple to the $1 trillion market cap. We did a class on that. You know what you're looking for there. Negative news: new home sales have fallen to their lowest level since October of last year. Now, new home sales accounts for 10% of all of the housing market out there, right? So when you're looking at new home sales, it's 10%. It's not a big deal. The problem is mortgage applications also fell. As people say, they're more concerned about affordability issues. So if we go back over to the charts here real quick, let's take a look at the home builders and the home sector there. So down 2% on the day, trading near lows. Any company that is in the home building space, Lennar down 2.5%. I call it Dr. Horton. DR Horton was down 2% on the day. Is Beazer still somebody? Beazer Homes down 7%. They're one of the bigger, higher priced names. And so you kind of see that going on there. Not too exciting if you're holding the home builders there. So not bad. If you look at bonds today up on the screen, a couple things on the ticker up there. You'll notice that the European markets were lower ahead of this meeting this morning. Remember, we're sort of ahead of them at this point. So they didn't know what to expect from this meeting going on today. Those markets were lower. I fully expect those to trade higher tomorrow. Just not a recommendation, just something to keep an eye on. Copper higher today. That was impressive if you happen to follow the copper markets. Gold continues to recover off of its lows. I mean, I could go on and on, but I'm not gonna. Yeah, the rest of it's kind of nonsense. Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, did I say that right? Elizabeth Warren, they've got a bill. They want to wipe out most of Puerto Rico's debt. They owe $73 billion. So Puerto Rico is $73 billion in debt. They can't pay it back. Nothing against Puerto Ricans. I'm Puerto Rican myself. They just can't pay it back. I don't like how Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren are saying it's all Wall Street's fault because Wall Street's greedy and wants them to pay that it's wrong. So these guys want to try to wipe out most of Puerto Rico's debt. Question that. When that happens, you go, oh, good for them. That's nice. We're helping Puerto Rico. I want to help everybody too, but who's going to pay for that bailout, right? A lot of bailouts going on right now with the farmers. Now Puerto Rico, what's next, right? So I'm sort of against that one there. I think let's let them grow their way out. Give them opportunity to grow their way out. I get it. Hurricanes, everything hurt them down there. I feel bad, but debt is debt, right? You don't go rack up a bunch of credit card debt and then blame the credit card company. You racked up the debt, right? It's your fault. So you can hate me if you like in the comments below on that one. That's all I got. I'll answer some questions there if you have any. We'll look at any stock, any charts there. Facebook getting killed after hours. Yeah, they got their conference call coming up. I highly expect them to be very humble, show some humility in that conference call and show that the reason why some of these numbers are lower and their CapEx is just incredible is because they're working on making things better as far as all the nonsense they're dealing with. So not all energy doing good. Halliburton was down low. Yeah, Halliburton unfortunately getting crushed. Did they have earnings come out anytime soon? That was yesterday. Oh, sorry, 2 days ago. So earnings started that little avalanche there for Halliburton. Is that a discount? What do you think, Mr. Industrial Wasteland? Do you think that's a discount in the short term? That's an awful quick drop just in that short amount of time. I will say think of the emerging markets. I can't make any suggestions here. I hate that. Think of emerging markets. They were steadily moving lower, and then they rapidly fell. Look at any stock that moves lower and then falls off a cliff, so to speak. That is usually means you're very close to a bottom. Halliburton's been falling rather steadily and now falling off a cliff. I'm not saying you try to pick the bottom there, but I would venture to guess that the bottom for a short-term trade is in the works there. Of course, not a recommendation if you don't know what you're doing. Living a life. Oh, I know. They'll just get the short of the crap out of them and make them. Yeah, you know. Hey, everybody gives the short traders a hard time, but that's a way to make money too. Maybe not always the most ethical thing to do, but dollars are dollars, right? Okay, so that's that. There may or may not be a Dow show tomorrow. There will definitely not be a closing beat. I'll be headed out to North Carolina, be in Charlotte and Winston-Salem for the weekend. So if you happen to be in the area and want to stop by and say hi, we did get to say hi to some people in San Antonio. That was really cool, actually. I'm told Charlotte and Winston-Salem will not be as hot as that nonsense in San Antonio. So that's that. All right, if I can help you in any way, great. If I have helped you in any way, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell on the side there. That'll let you know when the closing beat goes live. We do 2 shows a day, of course. We've got the Dow show at 1 p.m. Eastern and then the closing beat here at 5 p.m. Eastern. Check us out at jazzwealth.com. We're here to help. And if your current retirement investing or long-term investing is not getting you where you want to be, then consider us here at Jazz Wealth. Have a great night, everybody. We will talk to you soon.
Why should you choose Jazz Wealth as your retirement or long-term investing service? Our portfolios are managed by us, not some faceless mutual fund manager. Our private classes will teach you everything about investing and getting your dough straight. Best of all, our fiduciary standard means your best interest comes before ours.